this is straight from my OSF personal statement.
Oh,
but
yeah, let's hear it.
like, I feel like my community met me where my ambition was at and then said, and actually you can do more.
Okay, so who do we have here? Who am I? Who do I have the pleasure of being with tonight?
The
Coven.
The Coven.
Yes.
Explain.
Well, we call ourselves the Coven.
Okay.
We call ourselves the Coven. That is our group chat name. We are 3 friends who work at Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and we named ourselves the Coven because our first hangout was going to Jackson Wellsprings, and it was very Coven-like activity.
Okay. Now, what is a coven?
A coven is a group of people with shared interests, is actually what a coven is.
Okay. And so, who do we have here?
My name is Caroline, and I'm part of the Coven with Jaina and Brenda.
Okay. And what is your area of expertise in this coven?
In this Coven or in my job?
In your life.
In my life,
Yeah.
I'm a stage manager and Coven member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, coven manager and Jaina.
We sound like a real institution. It's really just a group chat name. Yeah. My name is Jaina. I'm a director and an actor and a writer and a producer.
Okay. And you have?
My name is Brenda, and I'm a director and a producer and an actor sometimes.
And sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay, so what do you think got you guys together to become a coven? What was it that you guys shared together?
Jaina brought us together because we are on a show together called The Importance of Being Earnest, written by Oscar Wilde. Mm-hmm. And Jaina said, I have a very cool friend for you to meet that lives across the hall named Brenda, who just moved in. And so then we all went to Jackson Wellsprings, and we soaked in these sulfur waters that smell like a hard-boiled egg.
Okay.
And it was really magical and beautiful, and the moon was new, I think.
New or full?
New or full.
One of the two.
And we had really lovely conversations under the moonlight.
I think it was a new moon.
I think it was a new moon.
It's always a new moon.
always a new moon.
It's always the new moon these days.
New moon and new friendships.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
That's
yeah.
our book name.
Yeah.
Book name?
New Moon and New Friendships.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Written by the coven.
I'd buy it.
Okay.
I'd buy that audiobook. Also, I have a lot of appreciation for Ashland and the community here. It's a place that attracts a lot of artists of different walks of life and attracts a lot of spiritual people. And there's just a really beautiful sense of community here. I think the land and the water itself also attracts a certain kind of person that resonates with it. So
Ashland in general has a really kind of charged energy to make you feel more grounded and creative, but also ambition, which is like, don't always go together. So
what a holy trinity.
What a holy trinity.
Yeah.
Finishing off the Trinity here.
I've wanted to work here forever. I went to school in Portland, Oregon. Everyone wanted to come here. It's very famous in my brain and my soul. And it's a big deal for me to be here. And I really it's not lost on me on how lucky and cool my job is, because there's no other company this big and with the amount of supplies and people and knowledge in this country, to be honest. Even in New York, it is not the same amount of literal manpower. Like, this one institution is probably only under like Disneyland with the amount of physical people working on it. Like, on Broadway, you have one theater doing one show, and that's what they're doing for 10 months. And now we have 9 shows, and each of those shows has so many people, and you could not know the amount of people that it took to make one show. There's a whole warehouse in talent, which is so huge, which has like probably over 100 people painting a set. That's crazy.
So all the sets are made like
In-house.
In-house, but off-site.
Yeah.
So what do you think like prepared each one of you to be ready for this kind of experience and like take the most like advantage of it? Because
I think you have to have a really shitty experience to really appreciate this job.
okay.
And I have. And I am a lot. I have 17. I think that's a lie. But there's between 20 stage managers, probably between 10 and 20. And usually there's just 1 or 2 per show. So I've never been able to call upon a team of humans to be like, what do you do in this moment? like this job. Usually you're alone, you're texting your friends at 2:00 in the morning, crying, saying, am I doing this right? And here, there's people who have been doing stage management for 20, 30, 40 years, and you can be like, oh my God, what do you do in this situation? And they can just tell you, and they're right 100% of the time. And and that's incredible. The resources are incredible. The community is incredible. The support is incredible. This job is so competitive. And for it to not be competitive and for actually to be the most beautiful learning experience of my life is delightful.
Right. No one's stepping on each other's toes, but
no, it's a collaboration, and it should be.
What do you think prepared like each one of you to really make the most of this experience and appreciate it for what it is? It sounds like.
I mean, I'm gonna disagree with my fellow Coven member, and I know, and I'm sorry, but I don't think you have to have had like a shitty experience to appreciate the good experience that this is. I felt confident that I wanted more, and that I wanted to branch out and like to leave my home city and state. And I knew that I was just desiring more like artistic inspiration and rigor. So for the past few years, knowing that, like, kind of feeling like the feeling that I had a couple years ago was like, I want all these things and I feel like I should be working more. I feel like I should be in these spaces, but I can't. What do I need to get me into those spaces, even if I don't know what those spaces are yet? So I started doing a lot of self-producing work because I knew I needed experience, and because I didn't have any, people wouldn't hire you. So I started producing my own work, and consequently building a community as well. So I do a reading series in Houston where we meet once a month to read a play in a bar/theater. And it has just grown to this really lovely thing where we've got like lots of regulars every single month. And also through other self-producing endeavors, like the community has, this is straight from my OSF personal statement, but
yeah, let's hear it.
like I feel like my community met me where my ambition was at and then said, and actually you can do more. And so that was kind of like empowering to me, where I was like, you know what, hell yeah, I'll apply to OSF, I'll apply to all these different things and just see what happens. So I feel like confidence in my abilities, but also other people's confidence in me, and choosing to believe that instead of questioning that, has prepared me to be here. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let's see what prepared me to be here. I also have done similarly semi-self-produced work, a lot of directing and facilitating in smaller theater spaces and nonprofit theater spaces. A lot of my undergrad training was essentially self-produced work. So I felt confident leading in those rooms. And then a year ago, I did an SDCF observership, which is with the Stage Directors and Choreographers Foundation. So it's a foundation tied to the Union for Directors and Choreographers. I did a directing observership on a Broadway show, observing Rachel Chavkin on Lampika, and sitting in that room, in a Broadway rehearsal room, I was like, oh shit, I can do this. I was like, this is like any other rehearsal room. Like, if you're in a room with people who love what they do, it's like, it's the same on Broadway and it's the same in a shitty little black box theater. You know, it's like people are coming to the work and bringing their best. And I was like, I am capable of doing that. So after sitting in that room as an observer, so I didn't have as much of an active role, and I wasn't there to contribute my insight or feedback. I was there to just learn and observe. And in doing that, I knew I was capable. I knew I was ready to do more. And so I think that helped give the confidence that Brenda was kind of talking about, like confidence and belief in myself, to seek out opportunities to be in an institution like this. I also wasn't entirely sure if it was what I wanted. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in a big theater institution, or to continue doing more community work. But I'm trying to build a world where those two things can coexist and interconnect more. And so I think that's what prepared me for this.
Yeah. Now, you guys all touched on a lot of things that I think leads into this next question. So each one of the Coven members, we're going to start over here, all right? If you were to give like one trait that makes somebody cut out for musical theater, or like let's just say in sports, it'd be like height and speed, right? What are the maybe not physical traits that someone in theater would have that you wouldn't, that, you know, the average person wouldn't know about?
Can I have two?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the ability to be collaborative and stamina. Because you are tired. You are tired all of the time. We work 6 days a week. We're working 14-hour days. I'm working 16, 18-hour days. And you have to be able to work well with others because it's a collaborative field. And if you can't take notes without it being personal, because it's not, it's all for the betterment of the show and it's whatever the process needs, then I don't think it would go well if you were taking it really personally.
Right.
Yeah.
So one more time, what were those two?
Collaboration and stamina.
I'm going to say passion. You don't do this if you don't love it.
Right.
You know, it's like we don't get paid well. We have long hours. We have crazy schedules.
Right.
It's like for directors, it's like you don't stay in one place. You go where the work is. So you don't do this unless you absolutely love it. And if you don't love it, then you do something else. So passion.
I second everything that they've said. And I also want to say a sense of humor. Like, along with the collaboration, like, yes, but if you're not, like, a pleasant person to be around, you know, if you're not, like, having a sense of humor through the really long hours and through the difficult conversations and through the exhaustion, like, if you can't crack a joke with your team members, you're probably not gonna last very long, you know. So along with the stamina of, like, can you take care of yourself through this, you also have to have the stamina of spirit. You know, like, you have to, yeah, I just think a sense of humor. All my favorite collaborators make me laugh or laugh with me. Yeah,
Sometimes at me.
sometimes at me.
And may I add a sense of play?
A sense of play.
You must have a sense of play.
Yeah.
We're making theater. It's such a silly thing, you know, silly little plays. And sometimes they're not silly, they're very serious. But at the end of the day, we're just making a little play.
Yeah.
You know, we're not
Yeah.
saving the world from
Yeah,
disease or
exactly.
war. We're making art.
Right. Well, when did you guys have that moment where you're like, aha moment, I want to put myself through this, you know, I want to put myself through this pain and pleasure, like, to do this art? Like, when was the moment you realized, like, wow, I love being on the stage, I love being on the set or in the play or directing? When was the moment for you?
I think Jane is right that you don't do this if you can do anything else, because you should. and I just couldn't do anything else. I started in high school and I have never stopped, and I tried to do other things and I just didn't like them, which is so silly. And I love play practice. I've always loved play practice, professionally and unprofessionally. I think it's a fun time. I so admire everyone that works on a play. There's so many kinds of artists who work on a play, from, like, visual artists to costume designers to lighting designers to actors. And, like, when do you get to sit in a room with all of these literal artists and be like, that's cool, I'm just gonna sit here and watch? That's very cool for me, is to sit there and watch. And as a stage manager, I'm like a conduit between actors and techie people, and it's very funny to listen to actors be so themselves, and then to look at techies who are so awkward and so closed in, but just as talented, like, really come together. And that's my favorite part of my job.
That's beautiful. Stamina and collaboration there.
My mom can attest to this. The moment I knew I wanted to do theater for the rest of my life, and it was when I was doing a community theater production of The Music Man. And actually, I was doing 2 separate community theater productions of The Music Man.
Both the music.
At the same time. And at one theater, I was playing Zanita Shin at one theater, and I was playing Gracie Shin, her younger sister, at a different theater.
You couldn't even learn the same lines.
Right.
That's
No.
horrible.
Yeah. So, and I was, like, double dutying rehearsal, going from one theater, going to the other theater. And the one where I was playing Gracie Shin, the younger sister, it was, like, the bigger of the 2 community theaters. And I was, like, branching out. And my mom describes this moment of her dropping me off and me, like, practically skipping into the rehearsal room in my character shoes. And I think that summer I was around a lot of people. The world of theater opened up for me, as there were a lot of other people in that show doing theater around the county and going to like, programs for musical theater. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing I could do. And the bug just, it bit me then. I think I was maybe 10 or 12 years old. Yeah. You were there.
I don't know if I had a moment, but like I think similarly to Caroline, it was like, this is just the only thing for me, I think. There was like a turning point. I was in college when the pandemic hit. It was my second year in my program. And so that was like just really unfortunate. Hot take. The pandemic wasn't fun for me. And
Hot take.
yeah. And things just got really hard. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to quit. I can't do theater online. I can't do this with these people. I'm just going to do early education, and I'm going to become a second grade teacher, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to be awesome at it. And like when push came to shove, I was like, I actually can't. Like, I think I would be so regretful, and it would just be wrong if I did that. So it's more just like an instinctual full body thing that I'm like, this is it. So that was like a turning point. And I think a moment that my mom knew was when I was auditioning for that college program. The director of the school was talking to all of us, and our parents were there too. And he was sort of describing the kind of person that they want in the program and like the kind of artists they want to develop. And I turned to my mom, and I thought it was really silly, but I think it was actually really sweet. And she was like kind of crying. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And she was like, that's you. And it was just really sweet. And I had an anxiety attack after that audition because I thought I bombed. But my mom was like, I didn't see you, but I feel like you're meant to be there. And so I think my mom knew. Yeah, my mom knew.
Moms always know.
Moms know.
Moms know.
There's good moms out there.
That's true.
So I got an interesting question for you guys. You guys have traveled a bit for theater. It sounds like moving around a lot. Could you just share like one of your favorite travel experiences for like a theater project? Whether it was like, you know, like what was it like? How did you overcome, you know, just going from, you know, a new place to another and trying to figure it all out? What was like your favorite travel experience with theater?
I've never been on tour. I've always wanted to go on tour. You can also do cruise lines. I've been thinking about doing cruise lines. That's not an answer to your question. I just want to do them. I worked in New York, but that's not really travel. Have I traveled?
Where were you born?
California?
That's travel.
No, I
I
think.
don't go to New York for a job unless it's, you know.
I mean, I also lived there. Like, I had an apartment. I was fully set up. I'm gonna say Scotland,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't travel to do theater. It's not. I don't know what that was. We'll edit it out. I know the editor. Yeah. We went to Scotland. I studied abroad in England, and we had to go to Scotland for 2 weeks to hike in the Highlands, which is a crazy sentence, but mostly there was a lot of sheep, and it was really beautiful. Wow. And the community found out that I did theater, and they asked me to put on a production because they knew that I could do it. And my professor was just like, yeah, she got it. And so there was no money. We asked everyone in the community to come in with like a talent or something that they wanted to show. And it was basically a very glamorized talent show, but it was really lovely. And we went to each little cottage in the countryside, and we asked them to donate rugs and microphones and chairs and lamps. And we had each community member come in with like a song or a poem or whatever they wanted to perform. Someone did like some fighting, someone's jousting, someone did rapping. My professor did a long form poem and sang, which was really beautiful because he's a very timid English man, and that was really cute. And my whole like cohort of students did something. Some of them learned to choreograph dance. That was kind of funny. And then I stage managed it, and I just like coordinated everything. And then at the end, we like all held hands, and it's called a Keeley. A Keeley is just like a Scottish talent show / community event. And the whole point is to bring the community together and realize each individual person's like talent and contribution to their community, which is a really lovely way to like celebrate them hosting us, because we were on a woof. A woofing is a program where you farm to stay on land, and it's a not universal, what is the word, global thing. It's called WOOH, woofing. And we were staying on a woofing farm, and so our host was a farmer, and he like fed us all these homegrown vegetables, and it was all like a thank you to them in the farm for hosting us, was to put on this Keeley. And I felt really powerful and beautiful that I could put on this event for them.
Now, can you give me an impersonation of him?
No. He was the most beautiful Scottish man. He was like 70 and perfect, and he loved theater secretly. And so he was like, this is incredible. Thank you so much. And that was everything to me.
That's amazing.
I can't believe we've never heard that story
We've
before.
never talked about this.
2 months.
I
Touche.
know.
But we know so much.
I know.
In such a short period of time.
Jaina?
Me? Okay.
Whoever wants to go.
I got mine. I got mine.
You go.
I got mine. My favorite theater travel experience was going to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
Ooh.
I went with Breaking Wave Theater Company, which is a nonprofit theater based in Guam. And we went for this festival called NEEP Fest, which stands for New and Emerging Artist Professionals. It took me a second to remember. New and Emerging Artist Professionals ran through ITI, which is the International Theater Institute tied to UNESCO. Anyway, it was a beautiful 9-10 day festival in Rio. Where we would attend classes and workshops and panel discussions, and there was performances every single night. Wow. And one of our company members wrote a play called For the Love of Spam. It was a one-woman show, and she performed it in Rio, and it was epic and amazing. And I taught a workshop on indigenous storytelling, and just met amazing artists from all over the world, and saw a bunch of Brazilian theater, which is all in Portuguese, which I speak not a lick of. And it was a truly inspiring moment for me seeing all those shows, because the way in which, as a people and as a culture, they tell stories is so fully embodied. They're so musical and physical in their storytelling. So even with not understanding the words they were saying, I could understand the story being communicated on stage through the bodies in space and what they were telling through their physical bodies, which sometimes happens in American theater, but sometimes doesn't happen in American theater, especially with modern plays, So it was a very inspiring moment for me.
Now, can you do a Brazilian impersonation?
No, I cannot. Ciao. That actually was maybe Italian. Obrigado. Obrigada. That sounds Italian.
Really good.
No.
It's all romantic,
Yeah.
romance. It's all about romance.
There you go. I haven't traveled much for theater, but
You will soon.
But I'm planning on it. I'm manifesting it. But I would say the best place besides OSF was Prague Shakespeare Company. I went and did a month there.
Prague.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the only. Anyway, but that was really cool. And it was also kind of like an education thing. I was in college, but you get to act in one of their productions. So I got a sweet little credit with them. I did a 12th night, and I played Mariah. Awesome, so fun. With all just queer femme people. So great. But yeah, that was really special, and that was another place where I was introduced to a lot of different artists from all over the world, but also all over the States, and also got the feeling of I can do this, this. Yeah, just that uplifting confidence, I think, and deeper understanding of theater as a global practice. And also, Prague is sick as hell. I recommend it deeply. It was the cobblestone streets, the Christmas markets, the mold. It was during the winter, so I spent Christmas and New Year's there, and it was so sorry to my family, my favorite Christmas and New Year's I've ever had. It was just, it was really fun. So the theater was really good. I really loved playing Mariah, and just playing with Shakespeare on a deeper level, which I really like. But also I got to spend New Year's on the Charles Bridge at midnight, fireworks, champagne, all the people are out, and it was just so magical all around. Yeah. It was a good time.
Give me a check now.
I can't do. The only thing I really remember from Czech, I did not do a good job at learning the language, but you just say Dobrý den when you walk in anywhere. You just say Dobrý den, which is just good day. And if you don't, you're kind of rude. If you walk into a store, you need to greet the people. Yeah.
I love it. So
Yeah.
We've got an international global theater squad here. We've
Yeah.
got Scotland,
Nice.
Brazil.
Oh. Oh no.
I don't know. Checks.
And in Czechs, yeah.
In Prague. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, going from, you know, your first community theater show, I'm guessing you guys were in like a local theater group at first. Did you ever
absolutely.
imagine that journey?
No.
But, like,
No, I thought I wanted to be an ensemble dancer on Broadway, but I wasn't even that good of a dancer. So, no, I never would have imagined this. It's awesome. I think younger me would be like, holy shit, that's so cool.
what would younger you say to you today?
You never got out, did you? But no regrets, no regrets. I wanted to be a psychologist for a second, didn't work. Stage management just is psychology, actually, with theater, which is better, actually. It's less pressure.
Emotional management.
It's emotional management, by far. I think it is just like feeling more confident in that it wasn't a bad choice. Because it's not a bad choice if it makes your soul happy, even though I'm very poor. Yeah.
Rich in spirit, rich in experiences. And so, younger you, what would younger you
What would
tell
she
you
say to
today?
me? She'd be like, "Hey, girl, I like your bangs. I'm glad that they made a comeback." And I think she'd be impressed. I don't think that she knew that she was allowed to dream bigger than she was. So I think she'd be impressed. I think she'd think I'm cool. And I think she'd be like, "You don't have any tattoos?"
You don't?
No, not even one.
Not yet.
True. Snaps from the studio audience. Yeah, I don't know. I think we would have a good time together, though. Me and little me. Yeah.
Right. And what would older you say to the younger you that's out there, to the global theater community? What would you as you say to the younger people out there?
Oh, me now to younger people. Wait.
Or
Or older
us
me to
current
younger
us.
me.
And younger you is the future of theater.
It's a global younger you.
Global younger you. Ignore the intel that was just being dispersed.
What would you say to the younger theater people out there thinking of your yourself?
Oh, yes. I would say keep going. Just keep going. Keep training. Don't worry about being perfect. I wish I could tell 16-year-old self, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be the best at what you do to do it. Just keep going. Like, it's an investment. Your time is an investment. Your time in your craft is an investment. And life is so long. Life is so long. We have so much time to deepen our skills and to gain new skills. And there are things I stopped doing as a teenager in the craft that I think had I kept doing them, I could have been a performer on Broadway if I was like, oh, but I'm not a good enough dancer. Anyway, just to keep going, keep practicing, do what makes your heart happy, keep playing, don't take it too seriously. And mistakes are ways for you to learn. Global younger you.
You were clear, Chris. It couldn't have been clearer.
Speak to your younger self, but as if the younger you was the rest of the world.
I was right. It's a global
Global younger you. You were right. You understood. You understood the assignment.
Thank you, babe.
Is that still the question we're answering?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I think Jaina covered it all pretty well.
Yeah, I think we hit it. So, let's just say, what do you have to say to the people, that maybe haven't experienced the joy of theater?
Whoa.
What are they missing? What are people missing out on? Tell me about it.
The difference between TV and film and theater is that you're in the room with the emotion, so you feel it just a lot more. When you sit next to someone who's crying, it's different. I'm not doing it well. Your turn.
No, I'm feeling what you're saying right now.
You're doing a great job. I think that's great. So kind of like similarly, I would say be open to the exchange of energy. And I feel like for people who have never watched either theater or don't partake in it regularly, like maybe have only seen it a little bit or have only seen it at their high school, I would say embrace the cringe, because it's not all cringe. And I'm almost done. And I would say embrace the cringe and embrace the exchange of energy. And just be open. Be open.
I wasn't cringe at all when you went and tried to interrupt.
Sorry. No, I was because she inspired my thought. It wasn't an interruption. It was a
Add on. Yes, and.
it was an exchanging of energy, and I felt it really hard.
I was open to it.
Right?
I know that's right.
On her embrace the cringe, people get secondhand embarrassed when they see other people trying really hard, and I would say it should empower you to be embarrassingly trying hard at something, because if you're not, it's not worth it. Yeah.
I have more.
Oh, go on.
Why did you let me? You had more?
No, you inspired me to have more, the exchange of energy. And I would say, like, use it to embrace your own, like, fear of embarrassment. And in that way, like, see the mirror of it all. Theater is meant to be a mirror and art is meant to be a mirror. So if you're seeing something on stage that is eliciting a response, explore that. Theater is a tool for exploration of self. So I think if you can go in open and yourself, you can actually have an experience that lasts well outside of the 90 minutes to 2 hours you spent in a dark room.
I love that.
Yeah. I'll say it's different every time. Each performance is unique to who is in that room, and so that changes with each new audience that comes in. And just seconding what Caroline said of it's an exchanging of energy. It's something that can only be experienced in the presence of others, and that is the beautiful thing about theater, because it's inherently human, because it's based in that relationship between the performer and the audience.
Sacred. Theater as ritual, actually.
Yes.
Only rituals.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sacred global community of theater artists.
I said it better myself.
Sacred global community of theater artists.
Everybody whispered into the mic and then say,
The coven has come.
all right, now shout out.
Wait, what is it? No, the next one.
Shout out to somebody who put you on at a young age, who is a role model for you, teacher, friend. Give me a shout out. Who we got? Who's coming to the top of mind?
Deborah Hayes, who ran Starlight Theater Company in Costa Mesa. Thank you. She believed in everyone.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Me? Yeah, okay.
Addiction.
Oh, God.
Just addicted to the theater.
All of my theater teachers from middle school and high school, I had Miss Hearn, Mr. Hughes, and Miss May. She was just before Miss Hearn. And I think one of the first shows I did, I think her name was Miss Holly. And that was when I did Schoolhouse Rock. That was like one of the first shows I ever performed in. So I'm going to say shout out Miss Holly and shout out Barry, who I also did show choir with at Houston at Hits Theater. Shout out Hits Theater. Yeah.
All right, you're not escaping this one, Caroline.
I'm shouting out my college professor, Rebecca Lingefelter, who's also the leader of Portland Experimental Theater Ensemble. I was going to be a psychologist, and I was going to switch my major. And she was like, do you like it? And I was like, no. And she was like, why won't you stay? And I was like, because I won't make any money. And she was like, then what are you living for, really? And I was like, oh, man, that's rude. That's correct. And that's why we were here today. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Experimental ensemble?
Yeah, they're just a group.
Like,
A coven, if you will.
A coven. It's really quite witchy, actually.
I would try that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a psychedelic joke.
Oh,
It
didn't land.
I should have taken another
But it's good
one.
that
It's
you
okay.
didn't bring attention to it.
I mean, I've asked great questions.
You're a really good interviewer. Yeah.
Mark.
So, for the people at home who get to watch this, tell me, what show are you guys a part of? What are you excited about? And where can people find how to get those tickets? Because they're going to be selling like hotcakes.
Sure. So, again, my name is Jaina Schoedemeyer, Assistant Director on The Importance of Being Earnest, directed by Desdemona Chang at Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland, Oregon. You can get tickets for The Importance of Being Earnest running March 15th through sometime in October at osfashland.org.
And we got another.
Yes.
Being earnest over here.
No. Close.
What she said.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the same information. We're on the same
We're on
show.
the same show.
I know, but give us your name one more time.
Oh, my name is Caroline. I'm on The Importance of Being Earnest. I'm a production assistant. Everything that Jaina said is correct about where they find it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Validation from stage management feels really good.
So true. My name is Brenda Palestina, and I'm the assistant director on Fat Ham by James Imes, directed by Elizabeth Carter at Oregon Shakespeare Festival. It's going to be really sick. It is a Southern fried take on Hamlet. It's going to be a hoot and a holler. You don't want to miss it. And you can get tickets at osfashland.org. osfashland.org. And we run from March 16th to July something. I'll leave by then, but come watch it.
Well, look, you guys, everybody give it up for the Coven. You guys clap for yourselves.
Studio audience. Thank you, studio audience.
Best show we've ever done.
Oh, yeah. You've never seen a show like this. Free World Capital. Is that what it's called?
Free World Show.
Free World Show.
Great work.
Thank you. Great work.
Yay.
Wow.